everybody, welcome back to the workshop again. Unfortunately this time I had to do some repair work. On our recent trip up to the Lake District we had a warning light come on and it turns out it's the EGR valve. So the plan is today get that changed, which unfortunately doesn't mean we're going to take the entire front end off the van to get into it. But it may sound drastic, but it's actually not too bad on these, so yeah, we'll get cracking. I'll film as much as I can and we'll see what we can get out for you. Wish me luck. So you may have to excuse some of the noise in the background. It's going to say we're actually working on a Saturday, but EGR valve. Layman's terms, what it does, it takes part of the exhaust gases, recirculates it back into the system, and reburns those exhaust gases. The idea being that actually reduces the nitrogen content and cools the actual cylinder charge. Unfortunately, being a diesel, what happens is you get a lot of soot and lots of grime actually sort of passes through the valve, and eventually it sticks. Once it's stuck, it eventually sort of wears out the motor that drives it, and that's where we are today. So yeah, get in there and see what we can get out of it. So this is the EGR valve. Essentially that's where the exhaust gases go in, that goes to the throttle, and on the other side there that drops into the actual intake itself. Now just show you inside the unit, you can just see there you've got the flap and there's a rod that comes up. Now it's controlled by a solenoid sort of motor on the top, and the idea is that flap turns, lets more of the exhaust through as it needs it, and regulates the amount of exhaust gases going in, which controls the emissions. It's all controlled by computer, but it does mean that if anything plays up, like that sticks or gets gummed up and sort of the motor can't move, yeah, it throws a code up, and that's what we've got on the dashboard. So you got the magic 3 lights come up, but where that actually sits, you actually can't see. It's right the way down there, which is why first of all I need to get this front end removed and sort of get things taken apart. So the next thing I'm going to have to do is actually remove this intercooler pipe here from the intercooler, pop the power steering bottle out, which is just lift off and slide to the side, unbolt the air filter frame just from the front here, and there's a couple of little bolts there, just hold a couple of cables just down there, but once I've done that, what we need to do, pop this little rubber bung out here, which is quite conveniently awkward to get out, but look at it, there we go, quite conveniently a spot where you can put the bonnet prop when you're working on it. So normally it sits in there, but it basically means that you can take this front panel out and still actually have something to hold the bonnet up, which frankly is quite a good idea. Nice one, runner. And that is the front end taken off the van. Now that's the EGR unit that we're going to be replacing. That's the throttle body unit. And you can just see a little sort of convoluted pipe down there. That's the bit that takes the exhaust gases up and actually into the EGR unit itself. Now I've seen quite a few people trying to do this, and they seem to struggle with getting onto there or the other end of the pipe, which is right the way down there, which is understandable, it's quite tough to get at. But I'm going to try a slightly different method, which actually separate the throttle body from the EGR in place, and see if that makes it a bit easier. So that'll be the idea behind today's work. Like I say, when you look at what I've achieved in about half an hour, it's mad. they're so easy to work on when you take the front end off. It's ridiculous. I know a lot of people do slate the Vivaros, but they are a fairly good van to actually work on, mainly because they're just like a big car. But I'm going to have a quick 5-minute break now, mainly because I want to go get another coffee. And what I'm going to do, get things sort of moved around a bit, and see if I can get in there and get things released.
5 minutes later.
There's the moment's truth. One EGR valve removed, and you can see all this goopy nastiness going on. Yeah, that's what the problem is. So it's completely clogged up, and that's why it's brought on the error code and why we need to replace it. So, before this struggles any further, we'll get some cleaning up done. There's a little bit of a closer look at the actual EGR itself. You can see that's not been working for sort of a few miles. Absolutely clogged up. You can see what's actually just dribbled out of the back of it. That's what happens when you get sort of warm exhaust and sort of the mixture with the sort of the colder air and stuff like that. It forms like a sludge. Basically, this is what clogs things up. So everything's cleaned up. Then we'll get the new one bolted back in and start putting things back together. And so there we go. Nice new shiny EGR valve. So it just needs all plugging in and basically just rebuild everything. So there we go, we're going to get things bolted back together now, and that should be all sorted for, well, hopefully another 170,000 miles. But hopefully it's been useful for you. Like I say, a lot of the videos I've seen, they're quite complicated the way they do it. I tend to do things a little bit easier from having experience of taking these things apart. But yeah, if it's been useful for you, give us a like. And if you're not subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button. I'll be doing various different bits and bobs to do with vans. And it's something that, like I say, you can dip in and out. But if you're subscribed, if you hit the notification bell, it'll let you know when I drop a new video as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.